Okay, it's recorded. It's recording. Okay. So this is actually the reminder. The topics that we will go with your assignment 3 and 4 basically. And whatever we did here is actually based on all the activities that we did since the beginning of the class. You know, from the reading list and the assignment 2 and all the way. We are scheduled for a quiz, but I'll see how to go about it. So don't worry about that. Just make sure you guys are prepared on this the date that being scheduled. I think I'm gonna bring Jumin down here if Jumin's around. Just based on request. Okay. And okay, and this is the one that I ask you just to look at it. You know, sometimes always we have to align our stuff with what our topic, our framework and everything. So method and sampling, when we have a method, then we can pursue on the sampling. Last time I just asked you to decide on the method based on the paradigm that you think that you have for your research. Okay, that you will go through with your research. So now sampling is when you map to the method, whatever method that you use, how you will sample or how you will get the respondent. Okay, we'll go through and I see people are writing and I'm happy. I've read through and later, after we go through the slides or the lecture, you might want to change. You might want to change or you might tweak a little bit the way you write. So I won't comment specifically yet, but later maybe I'll go personally or WhatsApp you personally if I find discrepancy or still what do you call it, some confusion. Okay, so but so far is good. This is just to personalize. As we go through, you check the slides, you see the content and you map it to your own sampling or your own study, and then as a lecture hopefully you can make the connection, because it can be very confusing because we have a lot of many types of sampling. Okay, so this I hope help somehow. And of course, if we have more textbooks and stuff, but let's do this today. Okay, so here basically I start with how do you shop for groceries. When I ask about when we go about this, I'll say, how do you shop for groceries? And to cut things short, I know all ladies will have different style of doing things. So either you just go and hit the trolley and then grab the cart and then go aisle by aisle and just grab whatever you find important or interesting to get. Or you might have a list, a proper systematic list. Okay, I'll need this and this and this. I'll make sure I'll just get this and no more else. Okay, or you can what do you call it, go like bulk, like this guy. You can just grab everything, go to specific place and grab everything and be done with it. Or you can just select purposely, I'll just want this white paper toilet. It has to be maybe 2, 4, 6, 10 bundles. Okay, and it has to be white. It has to be a kitchen toilet, a kitchen paper. It's not a toilet paper, I guess. This is the aisle of yeah, the kitchen roll, the kitchen towel paper, a paper towel. Okay, so different. We just go based on different style. So same goes with the sampling, because this is related to sampling. How you actually go shopping, how actually you do some sampling. That's the connection that I want to make. Okay. So overall, no problem, Kabaya. Waalaikumsalam, good morning. I hope everything is good, inshallah. Based on our conversation earlier, inshallah. Okay. So today, the outline, basically we're not going to cover in detail every single thing, but this is basically what is all about when we talk about the sampling based on the research method that we select. Okay. So here's some sampling terms: population, sampling frame, sample, sampling error. These are actually what guides the rest. You got you understand this somehow clearly, but just now I saw Madam Geeta mention population in the sampling in the Google Doc, you know. So basically, some of you already get the idea what this mean, you know, if you are actually working, doing action research in school, so maybe that's, you probably, you know, good to go with sampling. Okay, and because we have two types of main two designs, two types of designs that we discuss, you know. So we have quantitative and qualitative sampling techniques, different style of working, and different paradigm. And we can see here, even quantitative has two sub type of sampling, two types of bigger sampling under it. We have a probability sampling, or we call it random sampling. Whatever based on probability, it has to be random. It's what you call assume random. Oh, this is bad. Let me. Okay, the probability sampling and then the non-probability sampling here. Okay, so under there we have some, and when you say random sampling, people always think that it's easy, but it's actually the kind of like it's tricky, but yeah, it's kind of easy. But it's just when you just explain later, when analysis and stuff, you have to really make sure how how is this random, you know, how random is this random. Okay, means it's not purposeful, it's not purposeful sampling, means you don't go and choose based on who you want. You just, anybody under the sky can have the chance to join your research. Okay, and under it we have more technique and stuff. Yes, this is recorded, Kabaya. Thank you very much for reminding me. And yeah, based on request, because I think Nisha couldn't join. Jumin hasn't joined, I'm not sure. But yeah, this is recorded. Okay, qualitative sampling strategies. This is when you know, usually qualitative, we don't have more, will be less people participated, you know, in this research, or participants who join, maybe usually will be more lesser than the quantitative sampling sample. Okay, and even in certain condition, we talk about one subject, one subject, right? And yeah, it's probably, we saw last time, one teacher only, that guy interview and what do you call, observe, you know, it's more like rigorous study on that person only. Okay? It's just maybe either build some kind of relationship just to study the perspectives of that person, one one sample. It can be, but it meets all the criteria why she's being selected, or she's being selected. Okay, and when you decide on who you sample, yeah, there will be effects, some, you know, the why you cause it, and what will happen if you choose the wrong sample and the sampling decision. Okay, and later we'll just decide. This one, when we talk about sample size, is usually mapping to quantitative, because how big of a sample that you want to really answer your question. Is this generalizable? Do you want to generalize it to, you know, in bigger population, to the population? Okay, yes, then that sample size matter. Okay, okay, so sampling, we start with the population. Okay, the population can be the whole country, or a state, or a district. Okay, depends. So who do you want to generalize, or to a school, a certain school, also a certain institution, for example, if that is your population. You just want to know the population is your staff, or the university staff at UUM, or students at UUM only. Those are the population. So within that, you want to sample. Okay, and then you want to see who's accessible. You have this, okay, for example, the whole state. Here is the state of Massachusetts based on this US map. So state here in the north. So who are accessible? So you go to the Department of Census or Department of Statistics and check, okay, who answered the census and stuff. So you get the accessible population. Okay, these are the accessible one. That I can go without having to swim across the Atlantic Ocean whatsoever. So that's the population. And then you get the same sampling frame, the list, their list, because okay, this folk live in Massachusetts, and then based on this we get the list of their names. Okay, that's usually we call it sampling frame, access to them. Okay, their contact numbers. This one usually the authority has. If in school, we say we go to JPN. Okay, we'll get data from JPN or from the department, from the EPRD. Okay, and why is this okay, there you go. So at the end, who's actually responded to your question in your studies? Okay, it could be a survey or also or interview. Okay, who will be observed and stuff. Okay, so who's in your study? That's the sample. Okay, pretty simple. So population, the bigger one, and you will go deeper and deeper, and you'll get the sample the same. Usually you'll get population, you want all the blues emojis, and you sample a few blue emojis from that bigger group, which is the population. Okay, so far so good for this. Okay, no response means yes. Okay, so deeper population, the total group. Later you say, okay, based on these blue emojis, I want to generalize or tell that it will be similar. Whatever I found based on the blue emojis will be similar to the greater blue, to the larger blue. Okay, so when you want to generalize, you said it's actually you want to actually make a statement. Okay, based on the sample data. You get the blue emojis, smaller group of blue emojis. Now you want to tell the bigger picture. So, I mean, for the larger group. So that's generalized. You make statement based on that. Okay, they like it, so the larger group will like it. Well, most likely like it. Okay. Then when you talk about population, usually we'll get data from the census. In Malaysia, it's banci lah. Okay, you go to Department of Statistics, you go to the perangkaan, and to get all those data. Usually now they make it available, but if some sensitive data, you will have to write a letter to request. And most of us will go to school, so we are dealing basically with the KPM and EPRD specifically. Now these schools require EPRD letter, and the process could take 5 business days. I did one time, and they will see all. They want to see all. Your proposal, the 3 chapters, and then your instrument. If you say you're doing survey, you have to basically list down what are the potential questions that you have. If interview, yes, what are they? But if you say observation, definitely will X your application. So why? Because they don't want you to go inside the classroom now anymore. That's what that is it. They stated it clearly. Did I share the link with you on the about the EPRD thingy? Remind me. I have everything with the application and stuff and the decision, and throughout, because I know somebody from the EPRD is a friend, so it's kind of expedite. It's always like that, if you know who. But the process is still the same. You won't get any special treatment because if you want to do observation. No, you cannot, unless you know somebody straight within that school, the pengetua usually, or the headmaster. Okay, so she might, and depending on the nature too, because nowadays videotape and stuff, they don't want to, because of the confidentiality, to protect, especially if child. No, these are actually related to ethics, but since we are talking about the one who's gonna dictate the population, yes, it is. So the banci. Okay, sampling frame. Okay, just a second. So we talk about sampling frame. Sampling frame basically is the list of people. So you went to the JPN. Now they say, okay, give me the list of science teachers teaching in Kedah. Okay, in rural school, B40, because we have rural and urban. Kalau buku perangkat statistics education, we have rural and urban, or enrollment data. Who enroll? How many students enrolls? Secondary, primary, any dropout, for example. Okay, mostly they don't share dropout, they share enrollment. Most of the time we cannot say that because they enroll, they drop out. No, they share the enrollment, the school data, and also the teachers data, if I'm not mistaken. So that one available free. Let me know if you need to need to find those data. I have all until 2014 until 2020, and it's pretty neat. They keep on updating it. I know usually June 2020. June for the year. If they are reporting for December 2020, they will publish it in June 2021. Okay, so that's pretty neat and organized. Okay, so those who you want, that's the population, and now you want to go to the sampling frame, you go to JPN to see what are the list. Okay, and we have different types. Some use maps of areas or records, whatever they have in data, or if it's hard copy, or soft copy, or the list of Excel names in Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so employees, you go to graduate school, for example, to see how many postgraduate students in Awang Hat Saleh. Okay, so those are the, what do you call it, sampling frames that you want. Yeah, this is very old school, yellow pages. You can still remember that. Thick book, telephone book. Okay, and back in the days when they still survey using phone. Okay, and yeah, that's actually for the voting. Yeah, the SPR. How many voted, how many registered, how many qualified but not registered, so on. Yeah, that's a district map. Kunshan City. Jumen, are you here? I know this is very bad. I'm actually whatever related to China definitely has to be Jumen. That's very bad, but yeah, just in case if you're from here. Okay, so that's it. Sampling frame. Okay, so now you have the sampling frame. Now you want to decide who really matters. I mean, not really matters. I mean, who will participate, really could participate. Sometimes you want somebody, it's not possible, so you have alternative, but those who really participate or answer, or that you can get hold to. So a sample is a small group, and usually you will have to see, because they are selected from some population. And if you take measurement, we will see that the population usually Greek symbol and big N, and if the sample is small n, or statistics class, if you want to refer to the mean of the population, you use Greek letter mu, and then if you are referring to sample mean, you just use M or X, or X bar. Okay, those are statistics and measurement stuff. But basically, you have this sampling fraction. Sampling fraction means you know that there are certain folks in the population based on the statistical census data. Now you just want to sample some of them, so you have the sampling fraction. Okay, either you know there are 100 teachers in Perlis, for example. Perlis is easy because it's a small state. So 100 teachers. So now you want to take all of them. So your sampling fraction is 100%, because it's feasible. You can get hold to all of them because it's a small state. Okay, and you can count. Okay, I think when my student did SZRZ, something history teachers, secondary school, history teachers in Perlis, I think 92, a total. Okay, from 1 to from 5, the whole Perlis, 92 teachers. So she got every 100, 100% of sampling fraction. Okay, and you can also you know, and grab sampling. They call it central limit theorem. This is also statistics. Means you want to make sure that when you sample that, the blue, remember the blue emojis, these blue emojis, okay, if they are mean, they call it, okay, if you sample them, if you get the mean is 50, so this actually should also map to this bigger population. Maybe the mean here is actually 52, so you won't go far. I mean, the the distribution, or we call it um sample under the central limit theorem. Okay, they have to have similar distribution, same mean center, spread, same variance or standard deviation, shapes, normal. You know, if they are skewed, the population must be skewed too. Okay, so those are the things that you have to make sure that the sample somehow map. And usually it's hard, and you just have to really select many, because you won't go wrong if you have more sample to map your because we'll see later. Okay, and this one, to make sure that your when you have this, that is some validity in terms of the representation. You cannot say like, okay, you selected 3, but those 3 are outliers, somebody in the population who's so different and you got them 3 of them totally different, so that's not mapping who the population is, and it will cause bias. Okay, assignment of samples to different groups in experimental design, especially. Okay, this one, when you're also doing experimental design, you have to be very careful who you choose to be in that different group, treatment control or treatment A, treatment B. So you have to consider those. Make sure that, if you select them, they are the same, because you want to see the effect, not because this treatment control already have advantage, and of course we will see, okay, the treatment is good. Or you select all the treatment here, all having what do you call it, or the control all being disadvantaged, that, of course you'll see bigger difference, because we want to see significant difference. If you select them wrong or biasly, so yeah, you'll see difference, and it won't map, it won't represent the truth. It won't be accurate. Okay, and it won't be valid. Okay. Well, here it is all about population and what do you call sampling, and how you use statistics. Okay, when you refer to population, you use parameter, the parameter, and then this is the Greek letters that we mentioned, and the statistics, basically you use the normal alphabets just to represent. Sample for statistics, parameter for population. Okay, and when we have sampling error is when whatever statistics that we get for mean for the sample doesn't map the statistics for the population, then there'll be sampling error, the difference between the value of sample statistic and the corresponding population parameter. Okay, means this mean we get just now, we get 50 here. So this one we get 52, so the sampling error is +2 or -2, because it reduced 2, right? So this is the mean for the sample, and the actual one is actually, we saw just now, 52, the mu. Okay, for that population, the one that we draw in the blue emojis just now. So that's the sampling error. And but the sampling error is small. We want it to be small. We don't want it to be big. See, if this sample and this is the population, you'll see here the rest are all errors. Okay, but if you have enough to represent the population, we reduce the sampling error. Sampling error again. Okay, this happened. We think it's it's nothing, but it can happen. It might happen. Most of the time, I experience it many times. One student answers 10 times, so I thought, oh, I'm happy. I'm so happy. We get like 40 students, because we aim for 30. Actually, the 10 are the 10 questions, responses are actually from one person, the same person. For some reason, she she's not happy because it's about okay, I'll tell you why the potential thing that might happen because of the way I conduct the sampling. Okay, I have duplication basically. Okay, clustering, I will show under coverage, under representation is not enough. You know, you want somebody, but they just don't want to join, or they just don't want to answer your survey. It also happens all the time. Over coverage or over representation, okay, because you've been covering all males, all Malay males, but you want diversity. But yeah, the overrepresentation of Malay males in your sample, if happens systematically, can lead to sampling bias. Okay, this is the duplication. You know, you have one person have two different phone numbers, one to many. Okay, this is clustering, many to one. For example, Smith Ronald, Smith Alicia, the wife, are sharing one phone number. Okay, that's many to one. And these are the strategies how you can, you know, reduce under coverage. You have to make sure that, you know, the sampling frames being updated, and then you have to go check. You have to, that's why the perangkaan statistics always, you know, being updated every year. Okay, so that's good to go, but it happens. Okay? And follow up, or sometimes you just check. You have to check your data. You don't just happy. Sometimes you check the respondent, you ask their emails, you check their IP address if it's online online survey. It could be the same person answering the whole thing, and you just basically, you know, get the information for one. Here you go. Okay. The rest are the same address, the way they write, comma, not comma, and everything. Okay. So it could be this one too. This one usually when we look at yellow pages or the census data, and hopefully that's why they hire also house go to house what do you call home to home census, right? Okay, this is it. This is the best thing that I got from this from my professor. Uh, took a survey a survey class and talk about samples for the whole semester. Okay. Mm. Yeah, I want to talk to you about this duplication here. Okay, this is because what I did is actually because nobody answered, nobody responded. I'm asking postgraduate students on their well-being. Okay, so nobody actually answered the survey. It's long. It's a long survey. We already put that, you know, give heads up to potential respondents. Hey, we have a survey. It's a long survey, but if you do the survey, you will stand a chance to win a Samsung tablet. And we're gonna have a lucky draw of 5 participants. So that what make that's the potential, what causes it, what may cause that person to answer 10 times. If you know, what are the odds of not being selected? And ta-da, yeah, eventually she's being selected. So yeah, and kind of like harassing us. When are you gonna give us my tablet? Because, you know, we select, of course, based on the lucky draw, but also with other criteria. You know, that's that we don't. You know, we use our moral sense criteria. So we selected we selected her, but yeah, she's the one who's actually pushing us. When are we gonna get the tablet? When? And how long? And we asked them because of this is a research grant, so we need an ID or IC, right? Identification number. And she refused to give in the first place because she thought that we were scammers. Okay, so yeah, it can happen if you are asking total strangers, or they don't know who you are, especially nowadays with a lot of issues. Oh, you win a tablet. Congratulations, give us your bank account. Okay. Yeah, it happens and it leads to duplication. 10 times she answered. Okay. So far so good. About sampling, population, sampling error, sampling fraction. Can we take 5? I'm actually, yeah, I'm feeling very dry. I'm kind of sick actually. Let's take 5. We'll come back 10:15. Okay. Pause. Yeah. recording. Okay. Thank you, Kabaya. Yeah, I did. A glass of water. Can we continue? If you don't respond, means okay. I'm just gonna continue. Will it be okay? Oh no, I'm gonna share the screen. Okay, there you go. Okay, so here, this is kind of the blueprint or the framework of sampling. Okay, for introduction. Okay, so we have quantitative. I told you it's about it's like the probability, which the sampling is there's a random sampling function and non-probability. It could be both for quantitative, and most of the time, sometimes in our study, if we don't have rigorous sampling style or we don't have enough data, we just want to get it done, or really try first. Usually you'll go with the non-probability, you'll go with the convenience, who you can get. Purposeful means you really select them, not because I just want anybody under the sky. I want somebody who can meet the criteria of what I really to answer my research questions, or a quota, who gets who gets rancangan makanan tambahan, or who will be vaccinated. Okay, that's a quota. Okay, that's a quota for certain program, and you select based on that, and there's no way it's a random sampling. Okay, qualitative, everything here the same. Basically, sometimes they say that okay, it's similar to non-probability, but qualitative, you select specifically. If you select one person, you have to make sure why. So it's comprehensive, it's purposeful, and at the same time, you you have the reason why. And sometimes you make sure that that's the you get them from the quantitative, and you make sure that these actually are the extreme cases or the special cases, or represent a specific case, maybe the normal case, the extreme case, extreme case at the maximum, the higher end, and extreme case at the lower end. And snowball is like who pass it around to those who or network, we call it network. Okay. Two types: probability or random sampling, or non-probability. Okay. This one means the population, and how likely they will be selected. Okay, I know we have 10 students, 11 students in our class. I'm just gonna select five who attend WebEx first to join, to do my thing. So it could be anybody who joined. The first 5 students who join WebEx will be my participants. Okay, that's random. If I already think, okay, I want one Malay and one Indian, so definitely it'll be 1-3. Definitely Kabaya, Nisha, or Ain will be selected for the Malay, and the rest will be selected from Indian. So when you have that in mind, that is actually also random, but we call it stratified. Okay, because anybody for Indian can be selected, anybody Malay can be selected. But now we know, we already separate them. Okay, Malay, because the 5 could be all Indians, or the 5 could be 3 of them Malays. Okay, no, if Jumin is selected, definitely Jumin will be the 100% sampling fraction. She's a Chinese from China, so she's international. We'll select her, because I want everybody to represent all different backgrounds, for example, or different ethnicity. So that's random sampling, but that's more like stratified. Okay, non-probability means we don't know, just anybody, you tell me these are the criteria and I want this. It's not necessarily. Most of the time we'll go with non-probability for research project, most of the time. Okay, but if you have the data, go ahead. You can do random sampling, no problem. Okay, so you know the chance of selection. Okay, so that you can reduce the sampling bias. It's either underrepresentation or overrepresentation. We'll see more. Okay, here, random sampling. Why they like random sampling? We can select anybody that map to be in our study. Usually is not that difficult. Means anybody have the will have the chance to participate in our study. Okay, if we're lucky, we save money. If we're not lucky, we ended up, suggesting tablet. Okay, to students, to participants. So, and they said that most of the time it reduces error, but it has some degree of error. But random sampling kind of like gold standards. People always say, because each member of the population, or the one that you want to select, they have the equal probability. It's anybody, but those 5 who attended WebEx meeting first. Okay, so anybody, especially for those 5. Of course, if you don't consider, oh, my internet or my buffer time or something like that, but it's just anybody 5 will be selected. So come early, or for example, okay, or I can just close my eyes and select 5 of you if we meet face to face, in the class. Okay, that's random sampling. Sampling method reveals in advance the likelihood that any one element will be selected. So we'll see, okay, if we have 11, so each of you have like what, 10% chance of being selected, or maybe 9%. Okay, 9. So yeah, 9 times 11, 99. Okay, so 9.2% of being selected. Okay, 9.2 chance okay, of being selected. Probability sampling begins with a sampling frame. Means we have the list. Okay, you know who you want to get, and then you can just select. You cannot just go, okay, I want to do random sampling, but I don't know how many actually in that population. You have to have the sampling frame. Okay. This again, another way of representing it. The same thing, the one that you saw earlier. Okay, here, simple random sampling. Grab everybody, anybody. You don't see it. Just like you pick a candy, or lucky draw. It's lucky draw basically. Okay. But trust me, things can be rigged. Okay, every member of the population has the same chance of being selected. Just now, all of us, we have maybe 0.92 chance of being selected. 0.092, I think. Is it? Oh yeah, okay, 0.092. Okay, not 0.92, 0.092 of being selected in the class. Okay, because we have 11 of us, excluding me. So here you can do random number table from the Excel. You can select, okay, select randomly. You have that comment in Excel. Random digit dialing, equal probability of selection, this one. Okay, the one that if we have 11, so, or if we have 2 students, yeah, 50-50, anybody. It could be Kabaya, or it could be Madam Gita. Okay, 50-50, doesn't matter. So both. So here, this is the random assorted digits, simple random sampling. Anytime. It's not, there's no systematic order. You just select, okay, I want this, 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 I want this. Okay, but you know all of this. Okay, but you just want 20% or 5% from these numbers. Okay, and this one adalah nama siapa-siapa lah. Okay, Madam Nila, Nalini, Puva, Gita, Ain, Shumin. Okay, then you say, okay, these are the things, my potential sample. Okay, systematic. Systematic is random, but it's just systematic. This one, there you go. You have customer, for example, you want every 3rd customer or every 5th student in your Excel spreadsheet. So you select, okay, Tesco opens at 8. So I will stay there where people take the temperature I will select the third. Every third customer who, who scan the My SZRZ will be selected. And then the third one will be, okay, the third customer, male, Malay. 6 customer, male, Malay, and so on. 9 customer will be male, Malay. 12 customer will be male, Malay. So you'll see here, there'll be over representation. And that's, it looks very neat when you have systematic, but it could lead to over representation or under representation. You don't have enough. You want everybody customer, that's co-customer, right? But you get only male and Malay customers as in your sample. So that is the sampling fraction, 29%. The same thing here. This one every 5th, I think. Oh, 10% sample, every 10th student. Starting from here, we start at 2 randomly. We start selection at 2. It could be 3, it could be 5. So if you start at 5, yeah, it could be 15 next. So every 10th, this is it. It's systematic. Okay, and this is it. Stratified. If I have to say it out loud, stratified is kind of like the best way, the golden method. In some way, for if you go with the probability sampling. Okay, here, small subpopulations of interest may yield to few cases in simple random sampling. Okay, you get like two small sample. The researcher draws from each subpopulation. Okay, now, like I said just now, we have strata or stratum, one group, or many groups, strata. That's why it calls stratified. We group them into each stratum, and then we select. And that is actually random sampling, stratified random sampling. You choose them based on the stratum. Okay, and this is to compensate just now for that systematic issues, the systematic sampling issues. Adequate representation of minority groups. Okay, for example, if I just select a random sampling, I might get all Indian students in our class. I don't get Jumin, I don't get the 3, maybe, or I don't even get Jumin. Okay, so I want all all backgrounds, or race, ethnicity, or nationality have the same probability to join, or same chance. That's why we call it random. Same chance to participate. Okay, so we can vary the sampling fraction. Sometimes we can say, okay, we take 50%, 50%, 50%, or if she's the only one, she will be selected definitely, totally. Like Jumin. Okay, so the ultimate use of certification, we want to organize the population into homogeneous subsets. Means, this is Indian group, Malay, Chinese, or international student group. Okay, to randomly sample the appropriate size from each stratum. This is how you decide whether it's gender, age, location, level of education. Maybe all Malays, all don't go to school, all don't have SPM, the one that you sample, and you don't want that. You want to make it variety, especially when you are dealing with customer service. Okay, so you want the whole population to map the whole population. Once the population has been divided, samples are drawn from each subgroup using either simple or systematic. Okay, then first it's just 2 layers of sampling. You separate them in groups based on their their identity, their interest, their level of education, and then you do either you choose anybody or you do the systematic sampling. Okay, and if you decide on the how many you want for everybody to make sure it's equal representation, then you'll be using proportional. If you just say, okay, everybody's the same, so it's non-proportional. Check it out. So your sampling frame, they are volunteer teachers, but the volunteer teachers are from 2nd grade and also 5th grade. So you don't want to, if you do some random sampling, you might, select all 2nd grade teachers, but you want both. So you check, okay, and then how they are stratified by first the 2 strata here, grade level, EFT, okay, the type of field is either field dependent or independent. I think this is more like option, not option, or related to the field or not related to the field. Okay, so luckily, and then I said, okay, I'm gonna select randomly from 9. After I put them in groups here, then I select 9. 9 those who are actually volunteer 2nd grade and field dependent, 9 of them. Volunteer 2nd grade independent, not related, 9 teachers. Volunteer 5th grade field dependent, 9 teachers. Volunteer 5th grade field independent, 9 teachers. The same goes with this. And this one, the strata based on the classroom, especially the quasi. You cannot just select, okay, I want everybody, from this student will go here and this student will go here. No, this is basically you just based on the existing group. Okay, 1, 2, and 36 classroom. So here you stratify them. How many male students, female, and then you just want 6 students each. So that's pretty neat. Okay, and so far it's the gold standard in sampling if you choose the probability sampling. Another example, list of Samsung clients. Okay, you the sampling, you get the sampling frame, the list, and now you have to divide based on the ethnicity stratum. Then you select. Okay, and now how to do the proportional. You know them because based on the sampling frame or the population list, okay, there are 600 potential what do you call it, Samsung client who are white, black, and also Hispanic American. So 600, 400, 200. Okay, and now my sampling fraction, I want 50% from each, or 0.5 the sampling fraction. So I'll get 300 Caucasian, 200 African American, and 100 Hispanic American. Okay, so those are actually the sampling, and you have to make to hit this number, based on this group. If it's non-proportional, just now proportionate means you give 5%, so you get 300, but not necessarily the same what do you call it, the same amount, not yet 300 here, 300 here, 300 here. Okay, so if here is actually you are actually selecting the same, you say 150, 150, 150, and then the sampling fraction differ. And this is when you do this, it might sound, oh, okay, we have everybody equal, but no, you have your sampling fraction different, and your explanation later, in your estimates will differ too. Okay, so non-proportional, people think, okay, it's easy because we hit the target and they are equal for everybody, but no, because Caucasian origin, the real population, we have 600. Now you only select 150. So this is actually a quarter only. And yeah, you got the whole of Hispanic American, but the majority are Caucasian. So that's the balance, is imbalance actually. Okay, here I don't want to go through detail about this because it's way kind of I want to skip this, but this is actually for in class, more in class, and let me know if you're interested in it. Usually if you are doing national grant or something, yeah, I will talk about it. Okay, but you get the idea of stratified, non-stratified, proportionate, and non-proportionate. And the calculation is here. If you are not into calculations yet, just take it take your time to understand this what you call the slides, and the calculations are all here. Okay, and this is another one, guru pendidikan Islam terhadap amalan pentaksiran bilik darjah. Okay, and this is the information. Okay, how you're gonna do the stratified. I think I'll do this for you guys. Yeah, this is it. What I come up with from this information. Okay. Okay, cluster sampling. Similar to stratified, we put them in groups. Okay, but we don't know really exactly the sampling frame. We just know, okay, we have this groups, but we don't really know what do you call it, how many exactly. Okay, so convenient, naturally occurring groups. It could be neighborhoods, or taman, right? Perumahan, or schools, or districts, or regions. So it's the same. You have to identify the groups, but this one is actually based on the natural existing, and it's really hard to know who's actually exactly. Even though you get the data, you still it's just based on the cluster. Okay, this is urban school, rural school. Okay, I want to what's the time now? Okay, never mind. Let's go. Let's go further. Later, I share all the perangkaan, and you'll see. Okay, this is cluster sampling school based on the school or neighborhood. So here, you get the whole cluster for section 1 and section 5, and then all section 2 will not be selected because maybe they are urban, okay, or maybe they are rural. So you just want to see the urban, for example. So you cluster this section based on the groups, and then you select how many in there randomly. Okay. And it could be like within a district, there's a neighborhood. Within the neighborhood, there's a smaller neighborhood, or there's a what do you call it, a cluster of housing. So when you have that, you are doing in stages. We call it multi-stage sampling. Single cluster means all the elements of the cluster are selected. For example, cluster 1, everybody. Cluster 4, everybody. Cluster 5, everybody. So it's not like within a cluster, there's another cluster that you select. But if we start doing 2-stage cluster, we select the cluster and we select not everybody. So then there's the stages already, 2-stage cluster sampling. Okay, and this one is the randomly selected. This one we call it we randomly selected based on maybe they are the same, all urban, and yes, you select within the urban, you select based on the neighborhood. Okay. This is multi-stage cluster sampling. It looks fancy and looks neat, but the statistics behind it could be tricky, so you have to decide well. But it's good. For example, you wish to survey 100 male employees at Aman Central. Aman Central Mall is in Kedah. Ajumin is in Alustar. That's actually the mall that we are proud of. Okay, in Kedah, or at least in Alustar. Maybe in Sungai Petani they have better shopping malls. Okay, Aman Central is a shopping mall. It contains 216 stores. You randomly select 20 stores that have more than 10 employees. Okay, and then the store should have 10 employees, but minimum of 7 male employees. And then you select 5. 5 times 20, you get 100, because you want 100 male employees only. Okay. However, keep stages to a minimum. This one you have what? You have stores, and within that you have more than 1 employees. Okay, you have stores. Okay, all the stores, and then you have to select stores with minimum 10 employees. So this one no, this one no, this one no. So you get 2, okay, for now. And there are other, because we have 216 stores, you have to have 216 circles. So you have to select, okay, only these are the potential stores that have male employees. You have to select 20. So within that, you have maybe 10, and you need to have minimum of 7. Then you have to have 5. So it's like, you know, several stages within that cluster. However, keep stages to a minimum because each stage produces sampling error. We talk about sampling error, it maps, it should map the population. If it's not representing the real, these are errors. So we want everything like as minimum as possible, the error. Okay. So if you select this, within this, it will have this, another layer of this, another layer of this, and the calculation could be complex. Okay, there you go. This is a school district, schools within district, classroom within district, students within classroom. Okay. Important consideration, is the sample large enough? Large samples produce less sampling error. Too large is costly, of course, because you have to sometimes give them honorarium, give them free prepaid, 5 ringgit prepaid for one complete survey. Okay, large is good, but accurate and appropriate. Okay, you have a lot, but all one doesn't represent, only homogeneous. It's not like diversified, that mirror the population. Okay, fraction of population sample does not increase accuracy unless fraction is very large. Doesn't matter if you have, unless you have like 50 to 0.5 to 0.9. Okay, then it's actually good. Okay, you just have to have those who represent the sample. Which means shop carefully. Don't get the expired one, don't get the one that you don't want. Be selective, although it's random. Larger samples are needed when the population is more heterogeneous. Okay, dalam the heterogeneous mean basically maybe that in that neighborhood, like 400 whites, 400 African American, 400 Hispanic. Yeah, then it's like it's heterogeneous, but it's almost the same. Or 400, like 400, 500, maybe 2-3 difference. But then you have to select more because they are very heterogeneous. Okay, not very, they are heterogeneous. There are more variables of interest. The weaker the effects or the smaller the difference between groups. Because if you get more, usually you can go wrong. Always, you want to do complex analysis, it has to be large enough. More complexity requires larger samples. Okay, SEM. This is those who are doing PhD, for example, maybe want to consider SEM is a quantitative. Regression, even regression. Regression, you have to have at least 100 for the homogeneous. So imagine you have several. Okay, so those are the things. Okay, that's it. And we're not going to do sampling. We are actually, what do you call it? You can check the strengths and weaknesses. We already covered it ahead. Okay, and yeah, this is if we are meeting together, you can check this Padlet. It's still available. Okay, these are the strengths and weaknesses, especially systematic just now, because we will get do not what do you call it? Large sampling error then in stratifying, because it could be cyclical pattern, which we might not get whatever we want. Okay, do you need a break? Okay, nobody say anything. I think okay, we can continue. Jumin, do you mind muting your? I think you're speaking, or I'm not sure. Or do you want to say something? Hi, Jumin. Yeah. Are you trying to say something? I think your microphone is unmute. Could you please unmute it, unless you want to say something? Because you're chatting with me right now, so I assume that you forgot to unmute. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Non-probability sampling is non-probability sampling is actually usually hard to attain, especially if you want to do experimental or quasi. You know, because you are selecting them specifically based on what you want. Okay, I want students, teachers, I want those who are actually in the program or not in the program for COVID patient. I'm going to do this. There you go. Okay. Yeah, I forgot I can. Okay. So in what do we call? So we cannot go and random sample stuff, especially when it's in school, right? Okay, so that's why we go with the non-probability sampling. So researcher uses subjects who are accessible, who may represent certain types of characteristics. Okay, so this one again, if you think you should go back because to your the Google Doc and see, are you really using random sample or you are actually using the non-probability sample? Because even though you are using quantitative, it doesn't have to be random. Okay, random is good, but if you are doing, you know, specific, you have specific criteria, you want them to be, you know, certain population or certain group of ethnicity or certain groups with level of education, then that's no more random, unless you said that, okay, I'm going to stratify them first. And I know these are the sampling lists and I have them in groups, so I will random sample later. But if you know who they are and, you know, and it's not like totally, you know, random in the population, so you are using non-probability sampling. It could be convenience, easy to get. You know, your teachers. If you have your own teachers, you get you know, your WhatsApp group. Oh, please answer. Send it to other groups of teachers in other WhatsApp groups. Yeah, that's your convenience sampling. Purposeful sampling means you really targeted, okay, SJKT teachers, okay, poor states. But then it doesn't have to be random. You know, poor state students, but I want those in last class only. Class, you know, if you are streaming the class, I've heard some schools stream, some don't. You know, correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, if you're doing that, then it's actually purposeful sampling. Quota sampling, we talk about it. We talk about who get that, and after we reach certain quota, that's it. We'll get whoever reach the quota based on our interest. Okay, this is available sampling. Who's available? Accessible and available. Convenient. Easy. Practical. Okay, we cannot get the random sample because of it's not practical, it's not efficient, you know, too long to take, too long to respond. Okay, accessibility and availability. Okay. And the primary purpose of the research may not to generalize, but to understand the relationships. So if you do correlations, if you do descriptive, descriptive maybe you need random sampling. But if you do correlations for certain criteria, then maybe you don't need probability sampling. You can just use convenient. Hey, do you believe in the death penalty? Anybody who you found, those who walk the dog, who's walking the dog, or you know, your neighbor and everything. Purposeful sampling, you have certain characteristics, and this one I think most of you will have this purposeful sampling, but check, you can use stratified if you have the sampling list and you know how to actually stratify them or cluster them. Okay, so if not, then you use purposeful sampling. Okay, because if you are using the random sampling, they are all the requirement on how do you make sure that the selection whatsoever. Okay, the researcher selects particular elements from the population that will representative or informative. They answer the question, they can answer the question, they have the characteristics, come join my research. Please be a respondent. The researcher makes judgment to decide which subjects should be selected to provide the best information. Here, guru pakar, guru cemerlang. okay, in research of effective teaching. If you see my Google Doc, that's what I use, but I use that for interview, purposeful, which is okay too, because you are using, you go to Guru Cemerlang, you purposefully select the list of them, and then from that you take randomly, but you are interviewing them. It's okay. So and somehow at some point, most of the time we use qualitative, also we use purposeful sampling a lot. Okay, it has to be representative, of course. Again, what we need if you want to generalize, or we want to make some kind of like inference about that population. Okay, it has to be information rich. Okay, this one, in qualitative study, the emphasis is on selecting cases that are information rich. Means you want that person because of all the characteristics that will actually contribute to the findings, or to what you want to find. Okay, their perspectives matter. Quota sampling. Selecting subjects based on characteristics of the population until an appropriate total is reached. We have reached that amount. BRIM, BSH, scheme pinjaman buku teks. Okay, those who can buy a house based on the Prima, this is our government policy. Those who we receive the rapid KL when the Pakatan Harapan, this is our also previous policy, Jermaine. Okay, so we meet the quota. It involves 2 steps. First, you just have to profile who are they, and then you select them, whether they are eligible or not. Okay, it's more representative of the population. Okay, so quota is if you want to do non-probability, if you can reach the quota, use the quota, it would be great. That's the gold standard. However, it's still limited. We have to rely on the judgment of researcher. Important considerations. Okay, generalizability may be limited. It's hard to see who's representing what. So most of the time we don't say that, okay, this one generalized to all to other teachers in Malaysia, but you're doing Kuala Mudayan only. So yeah, that's generalizability. You cannot say that. You cannot make that conclusion. Researchers should estimate to who the sample represents. Okay. Means it has to mirror. Again, non-probability does not mean intentional attempt to get sample that is not representative. Some people say, okay, I'm doing non-probability. It doesn't have to. No, every sampling, it has to be representative. Qualitative, it has to be meaningful to what you want to achieve. Okay, not just because, oh, okay, I can access because they answer my study, you know, just I don't have data. So why you want to use non-probability sampling instead of probability is because of the sampling frames. It's easy, efficient, practical. Any research is limited, but not having research is worse. That's a sad fact, but it's like it's real. Across samples, repeatedly finding the same result supports generalizability. Okay, if you are doing it again and again and keep repeating it, then yeah, you'll get the generalizability. But it's hard. Generalizability is really a strong statement to make for your study. I don't see it's people shy away unless you do it long term and you do it really rigorous. You really do it like the whole you have like millions research grant. Yeah, then yeah, it's generalizable. Generalizable matters. That's what I'm trying to say. There you go. The strengths and weaknesses. No random selection. And yeah, that's it. So now the qualitative. The qualitative, it's I'm sure qualitative is all purposeful. Okay, but they don't have that kind of like distinction in the framework, right? But all qualitative is all purposeful. Okay, because it's either individuals, groups, places, even okay, I select this place. Sometimes you just want to compare Terengganu place and KL. certain parts in Terengganu, and okay, or maybe the beaches, Terengganu beaches and Kelantan beaches, or Terengganu beaches and the Semenanjung, I mean the west beaches. Okay, we want to compare. So you choose places. This is usually biomarine, maybe the one that events, documents. That's why artifacts are documents, reports. Okay, those are qualitative. Okay, regardless of the form of the data, purposeful sampling is used. Okay, because they are knowledgeable about things, or they are informative, so they can give perspectives, because qualitative at the end is about socially constructive paradigm, or the pragmatic paradigm, or the critical paradigm, the one that we remember a long time ago. So those are the fact. Their perspectives matter, and that's why they are selected, and that's why you choose qualitative sampling or qualitative design. Information rich case, to study in depth. Okay, you want to understand something about those cases. The researcher is not interested in generalizing. You don't want to, basically conclusion, yeah, everybody is like that. No, in this context is like this, in this context is like that, in this context is maybe like this. Okay, so yeah, you are not trying to make to pukul rata, to generalize. It is done to increase the utility of information. How going to be useful for this B40? How is going to be useful to those B40 in rural area? How will be this one B40 in urban? Okay, miskin bandar, miskin pinggir bandar, miskin luar bandar, different. Okay, means those who are poor in living in the city different from those who are poor living in the rural area, maybe. Okay, so you want to see how things work for different parts. A few cases studied in depth may yield insights about the topic. Okay, that's why people said that, okay, quantitative design, and then after that, so what? That's why mixed method now seems to be like a golden standard. There you go. Comprehensive, maximum variation sampling, same with the quota sampling, snowball, and case type. I have all this, but most of you are doing quantitative, so let me know if you need me to go. No, I'll go through. We what slide? Slide now. Let me check. I'm gonna take a break a little bit. Okay, 20 more slides. Let's take a break. 5 minutes, 7 minutes. Okay. We come back 11:05. Okay. Okay. So now it's it's being recorded again. Okay, qualitative. Almost there, hang in there. Sampling, like we said, why it's we put a lot of emphasis. It's not a lot of emphasis, it's just because different sampling will result in different design and different findings too. Have you heard garbage in, garbage out? If you do the sampling wrong, then your findings will also be jeopardized. So we don't want that to happen. Okay. So comprehensive sampling. This one, the researcher examines all participant, group, setting, event, or other relevant information that we want to use. Okay, means it's either all schools in Kedah in which teacher trainees from UEM attend their practical. Okay, all community events in the Peninsula Malaysia that encourage participation of persons with disabilities by ensuring the facilities of the events are inclusive and universal. And this one especially for tourism, hospitality course, they want to make sure that those events consider the universal design principles, that you are allowing those with high chairs, I mean school what do you call, wheelchairs, or those with disability to join the events, for example. Children who attended a speech therapy session at the hospital in Alustar from 2015 to 2017. So you are actually really, you want these people to Beyond that or before that, you don't want. Okay, so yeah, very, very selective. You have your own reason why you choose this sample. Maximum variation sampling strategy to clarify different aspects of the research problem. They call it divergent participant groups. For example, it's either 2 to 2 years, 0 to 2 years, 3 to 5 years. Okay, this one, especially with the special education. The researcher then selects key informants in each category to investigate career development challenges. So you have this, it's basically kind of stratified, but you know, yeah, it can be anybody, but you just make sure who I mean, they are represented. You know, they are representative of 0 to 2 years kids, 3 to 5 years, maybe one from each. So you have 3 of them. So it's actually maximum variation sampling. You make sure, you know, all the type of you want is there, not necessarily everybody. Okay. They said that, okay, the researcher uses this sampling strategy to describe in detail different meanings of teacher career development for individuals with different years of service. Okay, so more, it's not representative, but of course it has some kind of representation of those within that criteria or categories. Snowball sampling, I think basically is a network. Kawan, who you know, can you help pass it around, and yeah, you will get. Most of the time, practically speaking, this also, you know, is a practice for quantitative when you are using, you know, but you know already your sampling frame. This one you don't know, you know, but eventually you will ask around, okay, just pass it around, and then later you decide when you have the whole all of the list. Okay, so it could be also post data collection, the sampling. Also known as network sampling, it is a respondent driven. One respondent leads to another, and it's more like, you know, so much MLM, multi-level marketing. I hate to say this, but yeah, it is. It is a respondent driven sampling. Initial respondents refer other respondents, and so on. Researcher develops a profile of the attributes. You mean, okay, who actually join, you know, and who can suggest others. So researcher will suggest, okay, can you please find somebody who is from Kuala Mudayan, from Sekolah Berprestasi Tinggi, or high achieving school, and those who teach science, and those who have experience, 10 and above. I don't want below. I don't want new teachers. Or five and above. 5 and above, good enough. Okay, so you are telling people, and so they are actually doing that. Oh, okay, I know Mr. Z, or Madam B or Madam C. So those are the things that you have researcher development as respondents to recruit. Okay, there you go, snowballing. It is usually used with hard to discover populations. Can you give an example of hard to discover populations? Or maybe unique, COVID survivor, for example. Bias introduced by structured nature of affiliation. Okay, so yeah, why somebody is actually asking me to answer this, it's all, it could be, okay, can be improved with incentives to subject to recruit a certain number of new respondents. Means, yeah, you give money to those, you go and ask, okay, teacher, if you can let your students answer this, and students 10 ringgit. Okay, yeah, it happens, and it's not wrong. Okay, sampling by case type. Extreme case, intense case, typical case, unique case, all these kind of cases. Okay, different types. Okay, so here you can read a little bit about the different distinction, but don't get too hung up on this, because sometimes it's hard to draw the fine line, so that's why I have to draw this fine line, just for me to really understand what does different case entail. Okay, yeah, intense case, dramatic but not extreme. Extreme case, of course, the extreme ones. So yeah, this is how they define the types of cases. Critical case, reputational case, okay, candidates receiving awards, unique case. So you name which case you want, for those participants. Combination. Combination. Now that's the last one. If no other case, it could be hybrid. Okay. There you go. Recap. And recap. Probability, but okay, purposeful. Oh, this one also purposeful. So that's why they don't have like specific. Qualitative, everything is purposeful. But the purposeful could be comprehensive, snowball, maximum variation, the one that meet the quota, or be by case type. Okay. Effects. Okay. What will happen? Okay. If you select not enough, okay, it is important to have large enough sample size, because statistical significance is directly related to sample size. Yes, but it won't definitely, it's not really affecting the effect size. Effect size and sample size, two different things. I'm sure you have learned statistic class. Yeah, you will get, if you have large enough, it'll be significant. But what's the effect? Does it really matter? Yes, it's significant difference between young and old people in terms of online learning, but does it matter? Or is it like it's different, but nothing, the size is not that much. Subject motivation, why they actually join or participate in your research. They get a tablet, Samsung tablet, or yeah, they are volunteered or they are pressured. Well, if you don't answer this, your KPI will be jeopardized. You won't get cemerlang. Okay. You won't get excellent. Okay. Cemerlang is excellent, means good, good, at the end your performance is good. It's the best, basically, Jumin. Sampling bias, sample can be deliberately selected to include participants with certain view. Yeah, basically, the respondents might select those who, especially snowballing, network, could be, bias. Or if you are using systematic and you get overrepresentation, yeah, definitely the bias. Response variability. You need a sufficient number of participants to make sure there's a diversity. Okay, that's why you use the stratify or the maximum quota. Volunteer samples. Okay, you have to make sure volunteer samples. What are the motivation of the volunteer? Why they volunteer? Maybe they're already good enough. That's why good students volunteer. I know problematic students don't. So you will definitely see an effect of a treatment. Oh, this motivation or module or motivational camp worked because those who join are volunteer. Those who want to get all A students, or the all A students, those from parents who have more motivation, so those are the things that you have to consider. How confident or accurate the researcher wants to be that the sample will provide good estimate, because at the end you want to mirror the population somehow. Okay, for quantitative, the more confidence required, the greater the sample. The more confidence required, the greater the sample size needed. Means go big or go home. How close precision to the truth the researcher wants to be. More sample. How much variation exists or is estimated. Okay. Yeah, if you have more groups, diverse group, yeah, more sample. These are all references, and if you click, I think I'll bring you to the thing. And Craigie or Morgan, there's actually some people argue this is very obsolete. I don't know whether they have new publication, but I couldn't see. But yeah, some of this you can also see this with sampling and sample size. Morse, Qualtrics, you have just to argue why you're using this people to decide on your sample size. And this is normal. This is from Research Advisors 2006. I think Craigie Morgan had this similar table. Statistics, numbers. So here, the population size, the confidence interval. I think this is also statistics. For example, that teachers in Malaysia, there are 5,000 teachers, for example, in Malaysia. Now 5,000 science teachers, for example. So you say, okay, this is your population. So you check the statistics, the census, EPRD and stuff. And okay, I want to be my confidence interval is 95%. I don't want to be too too what do you call it, rigid or too accurate. And this is too accurate. Basically, you make it, you have 99% confidence, you know, in your sampling, and so, and you have 95%, but the margin of error is like 2.5 on each side. Even the remember that distribution. Okay, you are 95%. Okay, confident. So here, yeah, alpha here is 0.05, 0.5, and so okay, I'll see. Okay, so here I need 1,176 sample or teachers, so that you know I can if I have 5,000 teachers, science teachers in Malaysia, and I want my sample size to be like this. You can also check G power if I'm not mistaken. Okay, this is later, we're not gonna do this today, but G power also can suggest how many you have, your power, what's your effect size, what your alpha basically your confidence, you know, your margin of error, what, how much you willing to jeopardize, you know, to have the error, because error will exist. Okay, so 1,176 samples that you have in order, you know, to have this kind of statistical quality, and also for 5,000 teachers of population size. So yeah, you can play around. So in Perlis, if you have 92 teachers, so you go with 100. So you, okay, the least you can get is 80. You have 100, you have to get 80. So my friend, better go 99. If you can reach everything, everybody, just go everybody. Go with everybody. Okay. So there you go. That's it. And remember, the sampling that you choose usually will affect the validity, the ethical parts. We don't have I don't have the energy actually to go with the validity. So I'll try to do it, you know, within WhatsApp asynchronously. You know, sometime at night you will see I stop all the conversation from the participants, and I'm the admin, can send messages. Maybe we'll do it on WhatsApp more casually. Okay. Any question? Oh yeah, this is the exercise if you want to test for stratified random sampling. Do for both proportional and non-proportional. See if you can get to see. This is real data from JAPWA, Jabatan Kemajuan Orang Asli. This is our basically the aborigine, is it how do we translate Orang Asli? The natives, mostly they live in rural area, Jermaine. And Perak is one of the states in Malaysia too, okay, where the population overall are actually kind of like a lot, okay. Yeah, based on this daerah, Hulu Perak here, Kuala Kangsar, where's Kuala Kangsar? This district. Oh, I'm using yellow, very great, very good. I'm being sarcastic here because okay, here go Hulu Perak, Kuala Kangsar, Larut Matang, do we have that? Hilir Perak, Kinta we have. Batang Padang, where's Batang Padang? Here. Oh, okay, Hilir Perak here. Perak Tengah, where's Perak Tengah? Oh, here you go. Aborigines, yeah. Okay, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I think so. Aborigines, Kabaya, thank you. Perak Tengah. Kinta, where's Kinta? Just now, okay, Kinta, we have Batang Padang. Okay, yeah. So basically, the one. So Larut Matang, Selama, Manjung, they don't have. Mualim, they don't have really a lot of aborigines or Orang Asli. So yeah, these are the district, and you can see here Kuala Kangsar and Kinta as the most. Okay, because yeah, these are all closer to Kelantan, right? Kelantan, I think the closer to the rainforest. If okay, there you go. If you can try and do the stratified, see, and this is based on the sekolah menengah and also the schools. secondary schools. This is district. I should check on this. Forgot about zoom in. District. And this is a number of students. Okay, students of the Aborigines. Orang asli is the Aborigines. Student pula dah. Jadi orang Terengganu. Students. Okay. Okay. So you go. Try to see how you do stratify. Just if you are interested. No points given, nothing. Okay. Just for exercise. Let me know. Share your results with the class. Okay, it'll be fun. I'll take a snapshot on this and share on the WhatsApp too. So thank you. If you have any problem, Jumin, by the way, you were not here. Discard everything, and I changed your presentation date to, okay, this one is actually the one. I'll check this later and see, but just now I saw some of you want to do random sample, but the description is purposeful, so maybe you want to think about it again. So that's why I asked you to do ahead, so that later when you go through the lecture, maybe you get, okay, aha moment. Yeah, Jumin, is it okay, 17 April that you present? So 3rd April will be three of you, and 4 April we'll try if we can. We'll try to, because trust me, I know 3 hours, 3 people, sometimes it's just not enough, but we'll try. We'll try our best. Okay, try to limit, make it like a proposal defense, 20 minutes max. Okay, and with the Q&A and stuff. And try to, if you can, send me the slides ahead, so that I can have better understanding, and I can also refer to your reading list and your assignment too, based on, because all of these are related. Now you have to put everything, it's like a puzzle, put everything together. Yeah, that's it, I think. Any other questions or issues, or you comments before we end? Oh yeah, keep what do you call it, keep on what do you call, typing, or if you don't have anything, you can just leave. Thank you very much. Have a great day and take care of your health.
Doctor. Hello, doctor.
Okay. Assalamualaikum. And nothing else? Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna leave the meeting, okay? I mean, end the meeting for everyone. Talk to you later. Assalamualaikum.